Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. If you are new here, I am Kinsey, and over the summer I was on a road trip around Colorado to find all of the unique and hidden gems that Colorado has to offer. For my subscribers and longtime viewers, you probably remember a couple of weeks ago when I said that the channel would be kind of taking a slightly different direction once I was back in school. Well, that time has come, and I am officially back in school. Classes started on Monday, so I'm sure based off of the title of this video you can tell that we will not be driving down a dusty back road or into a Colorado mountain town today. Though, don't worry, my exploration videos are not over. We will still be exploring throughout the winter months. I just figured in the time frame that I wouldn't be able to travel, we would fill those travel days with the dark, mysterious, and strange stories of Colorado. And after all, it is spooky season, or at least we are headed into spooky season, so I figured what a better series to dive into with Colorado's weather that is slowly but surely changing. So, in the meantime, close your blinds, lock your doors, and maybe grab a snack. And let's dive into today's story. Tucked away in the mountains of Denver lies a story that has been whispered for more than a century. A tale of grief, love, and a woman who refuses to rest. In a town once called the richest square mile on Earth, a legend has lived on for well over a century, and each year on a cold November day, a mysterious figure appears in a cold Colorado mountain cemetery. And as legend goes, she has been known to be dressed from head to toe in all black. She lays flowers on a grave of a man long dead, and then quietly disappears, as quietly as she came. And if you are a longtime viewer of this channel, then you probably already know what town I'm talking about, where this century-long legend began, because we were actually up in this town about a month ago, actually. And we kind of walked around a little bit, checked out Nevadaville, and also one other town that was kind of close by. But yeah, you should go and watch that video too, but finish watching this one first, then go watch the other one. But anyways, the locals call her the Lady in Black, and her story is as haunting as the winds that still blow through the mines in Central City, Colorado. And just a little bit of history of Central City. Central City became a boom town in 1859 during the Pikes Peak gold rush, and thousands of miners poured into the town with dreams of fortune and striking gold. And at its peak, Central City had around 15,000 residents that called Central City home. And within Central City, they had around 1,000 saloons, which I'm sure caused zero problems. And they had an opera house that actually still stands today and still operates as well, which is pretty cool. And Central City also had their own newspaper, which began around the mid-1800s as well. And they had a few churches, because they had to go wash away their sins from the saloons. Wealth flowed through Central City, but often so did tragedy. A fire burned through the town, which led them to rebuild the city out of brick rather than lumber, and they also often had mining accidents from explosions that were pretty frequent, and as well as disease spread pretty quickly through the town just because of its size and the amount of people that lived in Central City during its gold rush days. And by the late 1800s, much like many other Colorado mining towns, the gold started to become less frequent, which meant that the 15,000 resident population also began to dwindle because the main source of income at the time was gold mining, and with less gold, less people, Central City started to become a ghost town. And for a while, it was uncertain as to what was going to happen with Central City, but that didn't last for too long because today Central City is now one of Colorado's most popular gambling towns. Must have been all the saloons and all the saloon things. There is a saloon left in Central City. Just one. Pretty cool. And tucked into the hillside just above Central City is the Central City Cemetery, with rows upon rows of weathered tombstones with names etched into them long forgotten to history, though one grave often stands out more so than the others, and that is the grave of John Edward Cameron. And born on August 16th, 1859, which was ironically the same year that Central City became a town, John Cameron was born in Canada, and like many others of Central City, he probably came to Colorado in hopes of striking rich and finding gold. And while not much was known about John Cameron's life, it was likely that John worked in the Gregory mine in Central City, though sadly John would never get his chance at finding his fortune. And on Cameron's obituary, it states that he was an only child, and sadly that his mother was the only individual left to survive him in death. And Cameron's grave, which is often well kept, sits among many of his family members who preceded him in death. Now, according to legend, on April 5th and November 1st, which is often known as All Saints' Day, a woman appears at Cameron's grave, and she is rumored to be wearing a black dress, black gloves, and a black veil that covers her face. She is rumored to be seen laying a bouquet of flowers on top of Cameron's grave, and then disappears almost as quickly as she appeared in the cemetery. Now, interestingly, the legend first appeared in the Central City newspaper as early as 1905. And at first, people assumed that she was either a grieving mother or a broken-hearted sweetheart of Cameron, though his obituary never mentioned that he was married or even had a fiance or was in a relationship. Though as the years passed and the visits continued, long after anybody who would have known Cameron was gone, the questions of who this mysterious person began to rise, and the questions were, who was this person and why were they still continuing to lay flowers at his grave long after even his own mother's passing. And this is where the mystery deepens, because the Lady in Black doesn't just appear once. She comes back again and again, year after year, on April 5th and November 1st. Now, the locals claim that they have seen her many times, though that she's always in the same attire, always a long black dress with black gloves and a black veil. Others who have claimed that they've seen her claim that they have tried to follow her, though no matter how quickly they move, she vanishes among the graves in Central City. And others swear that she's not a ghost at all, and that she is simply flesh and blood, and that she is there with quiet devotion to lay respect for those who died in the mines. Though, if she was real, who was she, and why only John Edward Cameron? So, to answer that question, let's dive into some of the theories surrounding the Lady in Black. Theory number 1 is the lost love theory. And this one claims that Cameron had a sweetheart who no one knew about because the couple came from different social classes, and after his death, her love for him never faded, and perhaps that she came year after year, even after her death, to continue showing respect for Cameron. Now, personally, I'm not a big fan of this theory because there was never a mention in his obituary that that Cameron had a wife or a fiance. So I'm not a big fan of that theory. But let's move on to the other theories. Theory number 2 states widow's grief. Again, this one speculates that Cameron left behind a widow who swore that she would never lose her love for Cameron, and that she still comes to his grave even after her own death, in remembrance of Cameron. Again, this one doesn't seem very accurate to me either, because there were no records of John having a wife, so she would have been mentioned in the obituary. So theory number 2 doesn't really strike me. Theory number 3 says that it's a symbolic mourner, and that some people believe that the Lady in Black represents more than just Cameron, but that she is a symbol of Central City itself, and mourns the death of the Golden Age and many of the other miners who lost their lives in mining accidents. This one, again, even less plausible in my opinion, because if that was the case, then why only Cameron's grave? Why not any other miners? And also, why on April 5th and November 1st? I feel like theory number 3 doesn't work either, in my opinion. And lastly, the theory of the lost child theory. This one claims that the spirit is of his mother still mourning the loss of her child, and is forever bound to Cameron's grave, unable to move on due to having to bury her child, her one and only child, on top of that. And this one kind of makes a little bit more sense to me, because for any parent, their worst nightmare is having to bury their child before them. And no parent ever wants to bury their child before them. So I could understand how the theory would come about that it was his mother who comes to his grave and lays flowers at his grave yearly, because that would be something that a mother would do. Though, just like any other ghost stories, the less answers that we have, the more interesting that it makes the story. However, the Lady in Black is not Central City's only ghost. Central City Cemetery is noted to be one of Colorado's most haunted cemeteries, and many who have visited have stated that they have heard footsteps, voices, and cold spots throughout the cemetery, especially when they are the only individuals within the cemetery gates. Now, while the Lady in Black is the most notable spirit to haunt this cemetery, many who have visited this cemetery have reported hearing pickaxe digging into rocks, and also seeing miners carrying lanterns walking through the cemetery. And perhaps the Lady in Black is simply the most visible piece to a much larger puzzle to Central City that we may just never know the answer to. And ghost stories thrive in ghost towns, or mining towns in general, places where wealth and tragic death often went hand in hand. And maybe that's why we keep telling ghost stories from ghost towns, because in the end, we're searching for the answers to the unknown, the strange, and the mysterious all the time. So, who was the Lady in Black? A woman of flesh and blood whose devotion outlived her own life? A spirit trapped by sorrow? A ghost story that simply made it into the Central City newspaper all the way back in 1905 for people to continue to tell around a campfire on a cold November night? Let me know down in the comments what you think. Let me know if you've ever seen The Lady in Black. I'm interested to hear you guys' comments. But one thing is for certain with The Lady in Black. On every April 5th and November 1st, Central City holds its breath in hopes that this figure will reappear, lay a bouquet of flowers on John Cameron's grave, just as she has for the last 100 years. Thank you so much for sticking around on today's video on Colorado's haunted history. And if you like today's video, don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already done so and you want to see more videos like this, or even exploration videos, because we have it all here, you should definitely hit the subscribe button, because it's free for you and it helps my channel out a lot. Also, I want to say thank you to all of my current subscribers. Your guys' support really helps me out, and I appreciate every single one of you, and I also read everybody's comments. So I appreciate you guys for subscribing to the channel, and I hope that you guys have a great day, night, whatever time of day you are watching this. Stay safe, and don't forget to stay hydrated, and I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, bye!